Hello everyone, my name is Clinton Kowach, and I want to spend a little bit of time talking about what's going to happen here in the next month or so with the economy. All the reports keep coming out, saying unemployment is 3.5%, everything is great, there's nothing to worry about, inflation is in check. But then when you look at the economic slowdown across the world, you look at shipping, you look at even air travel of goods, all of that stuff is contracting. You have farmers that are struggling with the sale of their products. You have auto loans that are being moved out to 8 years so that way people can afford the manufacturer cards, even though the manufacturers have massive strikes on their hands and their sales are tanking as well. The majority of dealerships are making money based off of their financing, not the sale of the vehicle. And this is a scary thought considering that the amount of sales are going down, so then they're increasing the percentages and everything else that they can on the financing side of it. So we have a lot of different things that are moving in the negative direction. And then you have recently what's happened with the banks, where with the repo markets. So basically the banks can, create money out of thin air. You invest, say $100, and they can then turn around and have someone else borrow 80% of that. 20% of that has to stay in the banks for their reserves. So that way they can ensure that the money, if people go to try to take the money out or anything like that. Well, they've been fighting for years to try to get more and more people to put their money into the banks, to store it there so that way they can turn around and loan it out and make more money off the interest rates. Well, the amount of people that are actually able to deposit money into the accounts has gone down more and more. So then they can have to continue loaning out that money to be able to maintain their profit margins, and they're not able to do that because there's not enough money out there. So they have been continuing doing that, and then they had to go into the repo markets overnight to borrow money basically from other banks to pay off the gambles that they've done the day before. Well, here recently, the amount of interest that are charged on those overnight loans has gone from 2.5% to 10%. That caused the federal government, the Federal Reserve, to step in and actually make it to where the banks had access to more money. They have been depositing anywhere between $75 to $40 billion a day into the banking system to keep it so that way these banks can borrow money overnight. And recently they said they were going to continue this until October 4th. Well, now they've actually moved it to where it's going to continue until November 4th. So the banking system is definitely in chaos just for the sheer fact that they have to continue borrowing money overnight to maintain just their day-to-day margins. Well, the problem is this is going to continue, and it's going to make it to where they are unable to maintain their day-to-day businesses. Now, the thing is, the banking system has wanting to get rid of the reserve amounts that they've had for a long time, and this is something that Trump had talked about before the appointment of Jerome Powell, and something that Jerome Powell is actually supportive of removing the amount of reserves that the banks have to hold on to, so that way they can tap into that money, so they can then borrow that money and loan it out and make more profit. So this is a ploy just to get to those reserves. But you have to show that the banking system is unstable to be able to change the laws based around that reserve. So this is a product of that. Now, your trigger point is coming up, and your trigger point is Brexit in October 31st of this year. Every indication says that there's going to be a hard Brexit between the UK and the EU. Now, this is going to put, shockwaves all the way through the banking system across the globe. Every banking system is going to be affected by this. Every economy is going to be affected by this. And we're going to see a standstill of goods, which means that the price of things are going to go up, and also means the sales are going to go down. So profit margins for companies are going to go down. And every time that happens, what do? They lay people off. Plain and simple. They cut off their largest expense, which is personnel. That's what they do every single time. And this is coming on us on Halloween. This is coming up right now. And it's just interesting that the Fed is going to continue injecting this money into the banking system until directly after Brexit. Directly after this crash is going to happen, the shockwave that's going to go across the global markets, go across the global economy, is going to occur. So you have a time frame. You know what's happening, and you can see, there's numerous reports, about large investors like Warren Buffett and all these others that are moving everything into cash. They're moving things out of the market, while all the analysts and all the stockbrokers want you to invest more and more money into the stock market because, well, they need to make their money. Plain and simple. The companies have already used up all of their money purchasing their stock to increase as high as they can. They can't go up anymore. Insiders are already selling their stock. They already know that it's going to go down. And we have a couple weeks until this hits. So in the next, couple weeks, we're going to see the market go up and down. Goldman Sachs has already come out and said this is going to happen. That's going to be very volatile in October. But when Brexit happens, hold on to your hat, because here's going to affect the global economy, and it's all an attempt just to drop the reserves of the banking system. So that way the banks can continue making their profits, continue loaning out money to the businesses and the wealthy, so that way they can keep this Ponzi scheme going. That's all it is. And we're going to watch it in real time. Everyone, thank you for listening. My name is Clinton Kowach, and if you have any information or want to listen more about me, read any of my articles about biblical prophecy and how it is in respect to what's going on in the world today, look at my website, clintonkowach.com, or you can follow me on Twitter, where I post every news article that's relevant to what's going on with the world. And just find me at Clinton Kowach. Thank you, everyone, and may God guide you on your journey.